right, I'll go ahead and introduce all of our speakers this morning, and then I'll turn it over to them. We'll have them provide their remarks, and then we'll follow it by any questions you might want to ask. For our Spanish media that's joining us, thank you so much. I will be providing Spanish language interviews after the media availability. Any questions? All right, let's go ahead and get started.
And I'm going to come back up after and say something else. So don't shoo me away.
I won't. All right. So this morning I am pleased to introduce the following speakers. Chair of the Pinellas County Commission, Kathleen Peters. State Resiliency Officer, Dr. Wes Brooks. State Representative Linda Cheney. State Senator Nick DeSigli. And Pinellas County Public Works Director, Kelly Levy.
Good morning, and thank you for coming out. I think being out on our beach is one of the most important things you can do. First off, you're letting everybody know how beautiful it is out here, and it is truly beautiful. But there's something really pressing and important that's important to all of us. And what I want to say first is how grateful I am to the state of Florida, to the employees in Pinellas County and our local municipalities, and the assistance that we got from the federal government after these two storms hit us. It was an incredible collaboration, and we have been so resilient and have come back and recovered so quickly compared to many other cities in this state that have had the same kind of disaster happen to them. And so I am eternally grateful to our governor and to the federal government that came in and helped us all work together, and it has been truly an amazing collaboration that I, for one, am very, very proud of. So I'm grateful to have the folks here today. We have our senators and a state representative and Dr. Wes Brooks with the Resilient team from the state of Florida and the governor's office. And we really want to talk about the importance of our beaches. This is infrastructure that is critical to protect our people, our properties, and our economy. And we've been struggling for many years trying to get beach nourishment on our beaches so that we would have that resiliency to protect our properties and our people and our economy. And we have struggled for many years to have that happen. Now, we're all working tireless to come up with solutions. And so we're just here to talk about that and maybe what we're hoping to step forward in the future. So I'm going to let Representative Cheney step up and have some words from her, and then Senator DeSigli.
Thank you, Chair Peters. Your statement about collaboration is probably the most important statement of the day. This is definitely a federal, state, and local issue, and working together is the only way we're going to be able to re-nourish and protect our beaches. And this is an opportunity for the federal government, Army Corps specifically, to really step up and shine in a way that they haven't to date. They're working towards that. We're hopeful that they're going to continue in that direction with the new Trump administration coming in, the continued efforts of Senator Scott, Congresswoman Luna, and our local government, our state government. We are hopeful we are going to have a beach renourishment and sustainable program. It's what we need not only for our residents, but for our economy. Our beaches are what people come to Florida for. We have to protect them. It's common sense. Anybody can figure this out. And so we hope that our partners and the federal agencies continue to move forward with the county and the state to protect our beaches.
Thank you. Good morning. State Senator Nick DeSigli. It's good to be here. This is an issue that this area, our county, has been dealing with for far too long. We've been sounding the alarm for many, many years. It's good that every level of government, our representatives from the federal level, the state level, and the local level fully understand the importance of beach renourishment. I'm also hopeful that with this new administration in Washington, D.C., that we can, have a rule change so that these beautiful beaches can be taken care of properly through beach renourishment. We've seen storm after storm after storm where it had just completely eroded and sucked, many, many, many miles of beach off our beaches here in Pinellas County. It's a main economic driver for us here. So It's good that we are here, we are together, we're working towards one goal, and that is to ensure that beach renourishment becomes a vital and viable program here in Pinellas County. So I want to thank Chair Peters, I want to thank the representative and all the other speakers here today, because this is an incredibly important topic. Thank you so much.
Good morning. I'm Wes Brooks, the state's Chief Resilience Officer. It's really been eye-opening to come here to Pinellas County today, see where we are in the recovery. We are really grateful to have a tremendous collection of folks working on behalf of the community here, and coupled with the governor's relentless drive and vision to push recovery forward, this community is back up on its feet and moving forward. Unfortunately, we have an issue here at the front lines of our coastal defenses for Pinellas County. And the governor has made it very clear that we are not leaving these communities behind, right? We are going to continue to push for resilient recoveries to make sure the inevitable next storm is less damaging and less impactful than the last one. These communities thought they had protection in the form of an agreement with the Army Corps of Engineers. The Florida congressional delegation has worked very hard over decades to build up those relationships and those authorities with the Army Corps to help provide renourishment support for beaches across the entire state. And for whatever reason, several years ago, the lawyers up at headquarters in Washington, D.C. decided that the authorities that they had used for decades no longer were applicable to how they dealt with beach renourishment in the state of Florida. Unfortunately, as a result, Pinellas County got slammed with some of the highest storm surge they've ever seen, and the impacts were far worse than they would have been had these berms been constructed the way they were supposed to be under federal law and with appropriations provided by Congress. We are very proud to stand arm in arm with Pinellas County, with counties across the state of Florida, and with a united Florida congressional delegation to continue to push this issue and make sure we get this fixed. It is not okay for the Army Corps to essentially put all the risk on local communities when it's their job to prevent flood risk from happening in the first place. So we'll continue to work it. We have an opportunity in the Water Resources Development Act, again, thanks to the leadership in the congressional delegation, and we're going to continue to pursue that and every other opportunity we can to get these beaches back to their full protective benefits and for the enjoyment of this community and bringing this community whole.
My name's Kelly Levy. I'm the Public Works Director, and I just want to thank, again, our chair, our representative, our senator, and Dr. Brooks, for being here today to, again, continue to drive home the importance of this critical infrastructure that we're standing on right here today. And I just wanted to give an update on where we are going and what we are doing to try and move this forward. And Wes mentioned the Water Resources Development Act, and we have been working very, very closely with him in his office to help move language forward that is common sense, that will help address future projects, not just what we need today, but going forward. When you maintain infrastructure, you can't just do it one time, all right? This is something that needs periodic maintenance, and when we fail to do that, we fail to provide the necessary protections that we need to be a resilient community. We are also in the process of designing a project ourselves and have submitted emergency permit requests to the Army Corps' regulatory office for review. And the reason for that is it gives us two pathways. One, our first and foremost pathway is with our partners, the Army Corps of Engineers, and working with them to find a way to make this project come to fruition soon, like really soon. If that doesn't happen, then we have another pathway available to us, and we want to make sure that our community has all the resources it can to make sure that our beaches are rebuilt, they're sustainable, they provide the economic driver our community has come to rely on, that our guests have come to enjoy, that our residents absolutely love, and that the necessary environmental benefits that these beaches also provide our community. So thank you very much, and Kathleen Peters is going to close us out with some additional information on a very important call this afternoon.
So like I said, the state has been an incredible partner with us to recover, and the federal government has been an incredible partner along with the state. So many of you know that the president contacted me before Hurricane Milton. He instructed me to contact his chief of staff, which everyone at the EOC and our county administrator, Barry Burton, we came up with a strategy of items that would have assisted us to do things quicker, to waive a lot of the bureaucratic rules so that we could remove debris quicker and we could recover quicker. In those conversations, we talked about beach nourishment. And the president said he understood the issue when I spoke with him, and then when I spoke to his chief of staff and his resiliency officer in the White House, they mentioned that there could possibly be a workaround as a result of the hurricane that we just experienced. So my call today, we've been in contact ever since, and I have a call today to see at 3 o'clock if in fact there is a workaround. And I'm very hopeful that this administration is going to continue to follow up with the resources that they've already provided for us, the help that they provided for us, and that they continue to assist us in recovery so that we can rebuild our berms, rebuild our beaches, and ensure that Kelly did not mention that after Hurricane Idalia, our beaches were 5 feet lower in elevation than they are during our regular nourishment process. 5 feet of elevation of sand. And I believe after our winter storms, once the report comes back, that you'll find that that's higher. So if it was 6 feet of elevation we were missing in sand before this storm happened, that sand, that 6 feet of sand, would have been farther out and higher here and would have been able to absorb the energy that was coming in. And I believe that the damage that we sustained on the interior part of the islands and the rest of Pinellas County would have been significantly less. It is critically important that we maintain this infrastructure. The beaches, they are an infrastructure that protects our property and our people and our economy. And so this is so critically important that this has to be our highest priority for the safety of our people, is to rebuild these beaches and design them in the way in which they were meant to be and protect the properties here and the infrastructure that we've put in place. And so I'm very, very hopeful that this administration is going to continue the work that they've already done and follow through and see if we can't get started quickly on some solutions right away, because winter storms can be much more damaging than summer storms when it comes to eroding our beaches and our most critical infrastructure. So time is at the essence. We really have to get this done. And so I've been saying a lot of prayers, and I'm really hopeful that today's call at 3 o'clock will give us some more hope that we can move quicker and faster and ensure that we have the resiliency we need to ensure that our infrastructure is sound here on the beaches and on the coastline to protect our people, our property, and our economy. So thank you so much. I don't know if you have questions. We have the experts here, Kelly and Dr. Brooks, and I'm going to let any of you that have questions, Barbara, if you want to handle that.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started with questions. We have just a few minutes, so please try to keep it to one question per outlet. Let's go ahead and start.
When it comes to the workaround, if you guys get the green light, what happens immediately after that?
Kelly.
If we do hear that there is a path forward and we can nourish, honestly, what needs to happen is the Army Corps of Engineers has to design a project. But the beautiful thing here is we've already done that. So we would be able to transition our permit documents, our surveys, our design documents to the Army Corps of Engineers to help expedite a project and move it forward in a really quick way.
Yes, Channel 8.
What does a workaround look like? What are the possibilities?
I'm going to leave that to you, because they haven't told me yet.
Okay. A workaround could come in a number of different ways. One of the programs that the federal government has is through storm damage projects. So they have emergency funding available for storm damage projects. The county had what is called a positive report, meaning we sustained significant damages from Hurricane Idalia. But unfortunately, that funding, even though it's sitting there, is blocked. Releasing that funding to the Army Corps of Engineers to do the project is one barrier that can be lifted. We have another request in for the same type of evaluation post Milton and Helene, and so they expect the same type of damage assessment. When they were here, they told us that our beaches were what considered in the red, meaning there's really just not much more damage that we can sustain, and said that they likely saw at least twice as much damage. So if that report comes out, the funding that is allocated in that report, again, release that funding, make it available to the Army Corps of Engineers, and allow them to come forward and construct this project. We can also utilize other access rights. So if we need temporary construction easements, or other types of construction easements, that is a path forward. Right now, the easements are, they require public access and use over people's property, and it's been an impasse from the start. But as you can see, we have public access throughout Pinellas County. The state of Florida has very rigorous public access use and rights requirements. We have to have public access every quarter mile or every half mile with 100 parking spaces and bathrooms. Public beaches are incredibly important to the state of Florida, and that's why they enacted those laws. And acknowledging that Pinellas County and the state of Florida has sufficient public access and significant public use in that way versus having each individual property owner provide it would also be a huge lift and relieve an impediment to moving forward.
I want to go ahead and turn it over to Channel 8. So,
Barry Burton, County Administrator. We understand that our residents want to get back, to life. There's very specific requirements regarding damage assessment, and we have to follow that FEMA process. Each individual city has the control over that damage assessment process. They've asked for additional assistance. The state has provided additional resources, and they're almost through those inspections. Now they have to do the substantial damage letters. They're working on that process, and each city will outline the timeline of when that'll be complete. For the unincorporated areas, we're going to be outlining that for the commission next Tuesday. But, we're getting there to where we can start releasing these substantial damage determinations. But we fully understand people's lives are on hold, and we're doing everything we can to expedite that process. In each and every city I know, our own chair has faced the same challenges with her house. And so, I understand, people's frustration. I ask for patience, and I want people to know that we're doing everything we can to expedite that process.
Representative Cheney wanted to add something.
Hi, I just wanted to make a statement about disaster recovery, hurricane recovery. There is a system in place where the locals can request assistance through the county website. If that assistance is not coming or not coming fast enough, when they've contacted my office, the city managers, I elevated at the state level through FDEM, and the resources come in. The city of St. Pete Beach just got a whole team showed up this week. So there is a system in place. I encourage every city manager out there, if you have not contacted my office, I'm sure Senator DeSigley is doing the same thing. Contact us. We'll elevate it at the state level. We will get the resources into the community. We can get permitting teams. We can get assessment teams, and of course the debris removal teams. But we need to know that these communities need help, and we will send you the help.
Can I add something?
Yeah. No, that process is
So this part of the hurricane recovery is probably the most important thing to our constituents is this permitting process. Like Representative said, we at the state level, we are here to help each and every municipality in this county to get this process moving. There's some, local city halls that are accepting permits on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 to 3. That should change. That needs to change. If that municipality needs additional resources, they need to communicate that with either at the state level. We have state senators, state representatives, certainly at the county level. We are here to help. We want to expedite this process. We want to make it very clear that there needs to be a sense of urgency here, because our residents, my neighbors, the representative and the chair, they all want to get back to their homes. We all want to get back to as normal as possible, and that level of communication needs to be increased so that these folks understand this process better. The local governments need to understand the resources that are available to them, but they also have to be willing and able to ask us at these levels of government what exactly is that they need.
So I want to say one last thing, though. Each of those cities have contacted the county at the EOC, and each one of those cities, the county has expedited those missions to the state, and the state has sent many of those resources and people, and thanks to our legislators that a lot of them came quicker, but the state has been responding quite quick. And so there are arduous processes. And what I will say to the residents that are out of their home, just like I am, it's going to be an incredible exercise in patience, and I know you're tired of hearing that. And I've even lost my patience a couple times, and with one poor resident, I vented in an email that they were complaining with, and told them I understood. I'm very frustrated as well. But this is going to be an incredible exercise in patience. We're almost there. We're almost there where we're going to get our letters and we'll have better clarity and we'll know a timeline on when we can move forward. And that's really what we want. We really want the cities, and the county will be doing it on Tuesday. We want them to release a timeline so we understand and we know what's coming next. The sitting and waiting and not knowing, I think, is harder than anything else. And so I'm going to ask our residents, as hard as it is, to be just a little more patient. I know I'm being tested on the patience as well, because sometimes I just think that we've allowed it to be too bureaucratic. And I think that a lot of this is excessive overreach. And I think we can do this a lot better. And so I get it. We've never done this before in Pinellas County. But I am asking for more patience, as difficult as it is. And we're in this together. And the residents have been incredible. I've said this before. When one person gets down and frustrated, the other neighbors just lift them up and help them get through this. And so when you start to lose your patience, just look to your neighbor, because they're going to be there. And they're going to help us get through this and make sure we stay patient. And when it's all done, we're going to have our beautiful communities back, and we're going to have our normalcy back. And so thank you to the residents that have all been supportive. Go ahead, Barb.
Thank you very much. And the website they were referring to is disaster.pinellas.gov, so we appreciate any effort to spread the word about it. We'll take a few more questions and then we'll wrap it up. Yes?
Yeah, I have a question for Dr. Brooks, if that's okay.
Sure.
You spoke about the inevitability of the next storm. With hurricane experts predicting more intense storms and rising sea level, how is the state sort of preparing long-term and far into the future for climate change and hurricane resilience?
Yeah, well, look, this governor has done more than any previous governor in the state's history to get this state in a position to be resilient for the long term. Under his term, the state has invested $15.5 billion in both resilience and also Everglades restoration, water quality, ecosystem enhancements, natural infrastructure improvements that keep our communities safe and safer into the future, regardless of what may happen. I think what's really important here and what we really need to focus on is what's going on in Washington, D.C. right now that's actually keeping us from being able to protect our communities. When you often hear, common sense is the rarest quality in the capital, in the nation's capital, and it's absolutely true. Kelly mentioned that the Army Corps of Engineers, after Hurricane Idalia came through, did a damage assessment and found that they had $60 million plus of renourishment work that they could accomplish to build these beaches back up into a position that is, helps defend the community. And unfortunately, that damage assessment never even got submitted to Congress. Okay, never got submitted to Congress for them to consider whether they wanted to provide the funding to build this project back up. That's dereliction of duty by the Army Corps of Engineers. And we are absolutely focused on making sure that the bureaucrats in Washington, D.C., whether it's under the outgoing administration or the new incoming administration, are not given the room to continue to mess around with Floridians' lives when we're depending on their assistance in partnership in order to protect our communities.
Given the state of the beaches right now, what's like the message to potential visitors who may want to visit Pinellas County beaches?
You know, some of our beaches might be thinner, but our beaches are beautiful. And we welcome every visitor to come because they still are going to experience the wonderful, beautiful Gulf of Mexico. They're going to still experience our beautiful white, sugar sandy beaches that are just such a wonderful gift that we have here on the Gulf of Mexico. I did take a trip to London to one of the largest European travel events of the year, and the news coverage made it look like we were taken off the planet in Europe, and that was unfortunate. And when people came to our table, we had appointments all scheduled up, and they were afraid to come to our table. They thought we were like wiped out and gone. And so I was able to talk to them and tell them, I mean, at that point, and this was weeks ago, we had 80% of our hotels were open and operating. All of our attractions that you go to visit, like Clearwater Marine Aquarium, the Dali Museum, all of our attractions were open. They opened right away. So we definitely have a destination here. We always have, we always will. And our beaches might be thinner, but they're still as beautiful as ever. And what was wonderful about that is they all felt so much better. And then we bought a lot of training to let their travel agents know to sell our area. They plan to. Just one city in France, I believe, bought 478 travel agents training to talk about and sell our beaches. So we have a beautiful destination. We always have and we always will. And no matter what happens, if Army Corps doesn't step up, the county is prepared to do whatever it takes to make sure that we bring our beaches back to protect our properties. So I think our visitors are welcome. They're going to love it. There's a couple restaurants they may have to go a little farther inland for because some of the restaurants are behind. But the restaurants that are on the beach are wonderful. You've got Salt Rock Grill, you've got Keegan's for amazing seafood. We've got wonderful restaurants, Sloppy Joe's in the South County, many on Clearwater Beach, that are open and they can have a great vacation. This is a great destination and it always will be. And we're going to do everything we can to make sure that we stay the world's most beautiful beaches. And that will not change. It absolutely will not change. We are committed to keeping our beaches the world's best beaches.
Commissioner Peters, on that note, can you speak to the role the beaches play not just in the safety of the county, but also the economic role that they play, and how significant it will be to Pinellas County's economy if you don't get these federal funding and this federal project approved as you should?
Well, as you know, tourism is our number one economic driver. So our beaches are our best quality asset when it comes to tourism. There's no question. We also have great attractions like museums and other cultural things that make it a great location because it takes more than one. But it's this beautiful nature. It's this beautiful nature. It's our parks like Fort DeSoto that they can paddleboard and love this wonderful water. So it's critical. For our economy, it's critical. We are very blessed that we have an incredibly large manufacturing economic leg on our stool for our economic drivers. So we are diverse in this county when it comes to economic drivers. But yes, tourism is number one, and it's absolutely critical, and our commitment is solid. We will make sure that we always stay the world's greatest beaches.
And going off of that, last question, please. Can you expand and kind of paint a picture? I know you're waiting for reports and official assessments, but can you kind of paint a picture of just the damage that the beaches across the county saw? I mean, I know it was every single beach that was impacted, and then will all of those receive the help in this plan that you guys are hopefully doing?
What we are currently seeing is up to 1 million cubic yards of loss, and that is absolutely dramatic. For comparison purposes, we put about 1.2 million cubic feet of sand on the beach when we nourished in 2018. So, just like that, gone. Getting that back into the system is incredibly important, and having that as our utmost priority, it just has to be there. And I thank Commissioner Peters for repeating that this is the county's commitment to our community to have these beaches restored, and not just protecting but being part of our economy. As far as damages, probably where we saw the most significant damages is Sunset Beach and Treasure Island and Bel Air Beach just north of us. Those areas were highly eroded, but those that performed really well, Paso Grill Beach. The beach itself performed incredibly well, but we had just nourished it. So it goes to the point that she made about having a strong berm being there as part of that first line of defense, as well as Sunshine Beach and Treasure Island. It also performed pretty well. So while the impacts were diverse, we still lost a significant amount of sand off of our beaches, and we need to put that back.
I want to reinforce one other point about all of this, and thank you, Kelly, for that explanation. $60 million the Corps needed to provide to get this beach back up to its design profile to provide the full protection the project was supposed to provide. Flood risk protection, right? That's their job in this whole thing. Unfortunately, the bureaucrats in DC decided that they were more concerned about budget risk and policy risk. And I don't know what those terms mean, okay? But it should not stand in the way of flood risk protection for these communities. And as a result of them not finding a way to spend that $60 million to repair these beaches, billions of dollars of additional damages occurred in this community. Billions of dollars of additional costs to FEMA, their sister agency at the federal level. Much extra costs on the state and local government, and countless lives upended as a result too. Somebody needs to be held accountable at the Army Corps for that very bad benefit cost analysis decision on their part.
Thank you.